Hi everyone, Jen from Journey to Wellness here. This is actually video 2 of the winter season Protect Your Body series. Likely you got here through my blog, but if you didn't and you just stumbled on the video, the first video explains how to do more dynamic stretching so that you're properly warmed up before you go out and shovel or plow snow. The blog goes into detail, giving you some different tips and pointers about how to protect your body and stay safe out there. And then this second video is actually going to go over some static stretches that you can do post shoveling and plowing. So the difference is the static stretches are just that. You're going to actually hold each stretch. The stretch is going to be done about 3 times on each side and for 20 to 30-second holds. The hold times are really important because it's in the time that the muscle will relax. So first off, I want to start with a couple of stretches for the neck. So the first stretch is going to be similar to one of the ones we did in the dynamic video, except this time you're going to hold it. So you're actually going to bring your ear to your shoulder. And if you feel like you could use more of a stretch, then you can certainly pull your head a little bit closer to the shoulder. If not, you can do so without. That's fine. And you want to make sure as you're doing this stretch that you're not like tipping your whole body, like it's just your head that moves. So only go as far as you can till you feel that stretch. Other side. I'm trying to do these stretches in real time for you, so this will be a little bit of a longer video because the holds on static stretches need to be much longer than what we did for the dynamic piece. So for sake of time on the video, my stretch holds are probably going to be about 20 seconds. I definitely recommend you give it 30 seconds if you can, just because that extra added time is only going to help get the muscles to relax post-activity. And last set for this one. You can do these neck, shoulder, and arm stretches seated or standing, whatever's comfortable for you. You've just done a bunch of activities, so if you want to come in and sit down, this would be fine. The next stretch that I'm going to show you is going to focus more on the upper trap muscle here that extends to the shoulder. So for this one, what you're going to want to do is turn your head and look down. So you can see it kind of focuses more out here. If you feel like you could use more of a stretch, then you can place one hand on the top of your head and pull down slightly. Again, don't force a stretch, but if you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, this will help you get you there. Other side. Make sure as you do any of these stretches that you're breathing through your belly. So in through your nose, out through your mouth. And that breath work done appropriately will also help the muscles relax. I talk about this a little bit on the blog post, but one way to really assess if you're doing a good job with your breath work is to place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. And as you breathe, you should see your stomach rise and the hand on your chest move very little or not at all, if you're breathing appropriately through the belly. This breath work is something that we all know how to do as small children, and as we get older, we kind of forget to use our whole body to breathe with our body, and we become very heavy chest breathers. So anytime you feel like you're struggling with your breath work, just place the hand on your chest and the hand on your belly and really focus on trying to push that belly out with your bottom hand. And last one. Okay, so for this next stretch, we're going to do a posterior shoulder stretch. So simply bring your arm across your chest, and then you can put a little bit of overpressure on your tricep area, and you should feel a stretch more along this tricep posterior shoulder area. That's just going to help, because our shoulders are, as much as we try and save them while we're shoveling, they're still very involved in doing that work as we push the shovel. Other side. Second set. And last set. Don't forget to refuel as you are kind of going through recovery from all of the shoveling. So that means drinking plenty of water, having another snack, whatever you need to do to just support your body as best as possible. Okay, there's one more stretch I'd like to do seated, and then the remainder of the stretches will be standing. So this is going to be wrist or forearm extensions and flexions. So we're going to start with extensions. So what you need to do for that is to bring your arm out in front of you, and you're going to point your fingers towards the ground, and then you're going to put a little bit of overpressure on your hand here. So from the side, that's going to look like this. If this causes any pain or discomfort, stop. And and only put as much pressure as you can handle, but you should feel a stretch right through these forearm muscles here, as well as into the wrist with this stretch. If you feel any numbness or tingling, you might want to stop, although it's not uncommon to feel a little bit of that, especially depending on what kind of work you do throughout your day. This stretch might actually help you as part of your normal everyday routine anyway. And one more on this side. Okay, then we're going to do the other arm. Again, looks like so. Feeling a stretch through here. I'm just twisted to the side here so that you can see what the stretch looks like, but you should be doing this stretch with the arms straight out in front of you, just so your shoulders can remain relaxed as you do this stretch for your forearms and your wrist. Okay, so the next stretch is going to be focusing more on the flexor muscles of the forearm. So you're going to be doing kind of the same thing where the arm is out in front of you, like kind of like this time you're like a stop sign, and you want to put a little bit of pressure on your pulling your fingers back there like that. So from the side, it's going to look something like this, and you're going to feel the stretch now here on the other side of your forearm. Again, don't forget to breathe. These muscles can be quite tight for people who use their hands and arms a lot for a living, whether you're typing on the computer or you're wrenching in a garage. Okay, and one more time on the other side. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on our fingers. Looks like that. Okay, so the next stretch and the remainder of the stretches we're going to do standing. This next one I want to focus more on the chest or the pectoral muscles. This stretch is definitely one that we can all use to incorporate in our daily routine in terms of stretching, not just when we're busy shoveling snow, because these muscles tend to get very, very tight when we're working, because we're mainly working in front of our bodies all day, right? So we're kind of short, tight muscles here, long, loose muscles in the back. And so that creates a lot of dysfunction. So whether you're typing on the keyboard, whether you're tinkering with something, playing the guitar, I mean, any of these things are all happening right in front of our body, and our chest is kind of collapsing in. So what you want to do is, as much as possible, open the chest and kind of extend back. Bring your arms back, bring your shoulders back. And one of the best stretches to do that is going to be a pectoral doorway stretch. A lot of people like to do the doorway stretch with both arms up at the same time. I don't usually recommend doing it this way. I don't like to do it this way because it puts a lot of pressure on your shoulder joints. And I feel like if you do one side at a time, even though it might take a little bit more time, it's more focused and you can really pay attention to what's happening on each side and which muscles are tighter on each side, because there are actually 3 different muscles in the pectoral region. You have your lower pec, your middle pec, and your upper pec. I think most often what I see are middle and upper pec being the tightest. So in order to get into those different muscles, you're going to position your hand in a different place. So let me from both sides. So the pectoral stretch muscle, you want your arm to stretch middle pectoral muscle to be 90 degrees. And you're going to have your feet kind of hip width apart initially. And then what you're going to do is take your outside leg, the one on the side not being stretched, and just take a small lunge step forward. Okay, and so yes, this is going to put a little bit of pressure on your shoulder, but not as much as doing both sides at the same time. You should feel a stretch right across the very front of your chest here, and I'll show you from the other side as well. And so you want to do 3 of these. What I like to do is change my hand positions. So as I rotate through, I'm kind of going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So upper pec, you're just going to reach a little bit above your head, still supporting your elbow on the door frame. Lunge step forward, and you'll feel the stretch a little bit higher. Okay, back to middle pec. Upper pec. One more round. Okay, then we're going to do the other side. Middle pec, you're going to have your arm at 90 degrees in the door frame. Your outside leg, the side that you're not stretching, is going to step forward. And one thing I didn't mention when we did the first side was that you can actually deepen this stretch. If you feel like you can handle a bit more of a stretch, then what you're going to want to do is turn away from the side that you're stretching just a little bit. And you can feel a much deeper pull in the pectoral muscle when you do that. And then you're going to come back and you're going to go up. So you're raising your arm above the 90-degree mark, but still supporting your elbow in the door frame. Again, lunge step forward. This time, the upper pec, and you can see for me, my upper pec is actually quite tight, something I work on all the time. So if you feel like you can only go straight forward when you're stretching the upper pec, that's absolutely fine. If you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, then of course you can turn away here as well. Okay, back to middle pec, 90 degrees, lunge step forward. Don't forget to breathe. Upper pec, lunge step forward. So as I said before, these particular stretches are really good to incorporate in your daily routine anyway, not just when you're out shoveling, just because we're so closed in on our chest. And it feels really good to get your chest open, but will also help prevent injury, all kinds of things. And one more time on the upper pec. Now the third area that I didn't show you in this series of stretches was a stretch for the lower pec. It's not as tight as often on most people, so I didn't include it in this series, but if you are interested in stretching your lower pec, instead of having your arm at 90 this way, you're actually going to turn your arm this way and just go a little bit lower. So again, bracing your arm on the door jamb, lunge step forward, and this is going to get a little bit into the lower pec. You may or may not feel a stretch here. If you feel like you need more, you can turn away, and that might be the point where you feel a stretch. So that's something that you can include if you want, because there are 3 levels to the pectoral region. So the next stretch I want to show you is going to be for the back. It's simply an extension. So if you put your hands kind of on your hips, what you're going to do is just extend back a little bit. So you want to be really mindful of this. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to injure your low back. You simply want to extend just a little bit back. Three times. Okay, then with the lunge, you're going to just come into a lunge forward position. Okay, so if you feel like you don't have good balance and you need to be next to a table or a chair or something to offer you support on one side, that's totally fine. You can absolutely do that. This is going to actually open your hip flexor on the leg that's back. If you want to kind of deepen that stretch a little bit, I recommend bringing your arm up and over your head, just like so, and that's going to deepen that stretch. And then of course come out of it. If you want to like shake your arms, shake your legs a little bit, go into another lunge, same thing. If you want to deepen that stretch, do it just like that. And one more on this side. And then you're going to do the other side. Deepen that stretch. You're going to reach over your head just like that. And now you're going to be feeling it on the opposite side that you just did. And your lunge can be as wide or as narrow as is comfortable for you. So again, listen to your body. Don't go too far. Only go as far as you're comfortable. And if that means a narrower lunge, that's okay. Over time, as you stretch more for cooling down post-activity, the stretches become easier. And we're going to do one more on this side. Again, to deepen the stretch, this is optional. Okay, so after the stretches for the hip flexors there, I highly recommend doing both a hamstring and a quad stretch. So for the hamstring stretch, you can use a chair, a step, whatever height works for you and is most comfortable for you. And you're going to extend your leg on that surface and bend towards your foot. Again, be mindful of your back. So you don't want to like completely curl in like this. You want to go only as far as you can to where you feel that first bit of stretch. If you feel like you can use more of a stretch, you can point your toe, and that's going to deepen the stretch. If you feel like you can go further into the stretch, great. But only go to the first sensation of stretch. And same thing, you want to do 3 on each side. And if you feel like you need something for balance, you can use a chair on the other side, whatever it is you need to help support your body. One more on this side. And, you know, there's variations of stretches all over the place. You can do back stretches, hamstring stretches, quad stretches, all while lying on the floor as well. I'm really only showing you one way for the purpose of the video, but there's lots of other ways that you can do these stretches as well. Okay, you want to do the same thing on the other side. Again, it's okay if you can't go this far. If your stretch is up here, that's totally fine. If your surface is much lower to ground, totally fine. You just want to feel the stretch along the back of the hamstring. And we're going to do one more on this side. Okay, so now we want to do a quad stretch. So you can do a standing quad stretch simply by grabbing your foot and pulling it behind, like so. So if you feel like you need to be near a wall or something of that sort for support, that's absolutely fine. Again, you don't want to be leaning forward or flexed at the hip. You want to be standing upright as tall as possible, and you're going to feel that stretch right in the front of your leg. If you can't get into this position, it's absolutely fine. You can do a quad stretch on the floor, or you can use a bench of some sort. Maybe your quads are really tight and you can only go this far. That's okay. As long as you're feeling that first bit of stretch in the muscle, that's totally fine. But if your surface is not close enough or your muscle's not super tight, then you might not feel stretch, and you definitely want to feel it, especially after shoveling snow. One more on this side. And then we're going to do the quad stretches on the other leg. Again, don't forget to breathe through your belly as you're doing these stretches. One more on this side. Okay, so the very last stretch I want to show you is a stretch for your calves, because we've kind of done everything else. So let's move to the last section of the body, and that's to make sure our lower calves are being stretched. So for the lower calf stretch, you can do it a couple of different ways. If you have any stairs in your house, you can actually stand on the edge of the stair and kind of hang off, so that you get a little bit of flexion there in the foot, and you're able to stretch the calf muscle this way by hanging off the edge of a step. But if you don't have any stairs in your house, or you want to keep it simple, you can put against the wall like so. You can also simply use the wall to support yourself, stretch your leg out, and try and touch your heel to the floor. Okay, and that you'll definitely feel a stretch through the back of the calf muscle there. So when we're doing the calf muscle stretch this way, or even the other ways I just demonstrated, we're focusing more on the outermost muscle in the calf, the gastroc muscle. There is a deeper muscle underneath that layer that's important for us to reach. So the way to reach that deeper muscle would be to put a bend in your knee. So now your foot's going to come up, but you're getting into the deeper calf muscle that way. So that's equally important, especially if you have any issues with your feet, like plantar fasciitis. It's important to do both stretches. So again, each of these stretches on each side are going to be 20 to 30 second holds. Okay, and I'll demonstrate the other side from a different angle just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I don't really necessarily have a wall here, but just to show you, straight leg back, trying to touch the floor with your heel. If you can't reach the floor and it's up like this, that's okay. Maybe that's only as far as you can go. If you can reach the floor, awesome. You're going to get a pretty deep stretch in the outer calf muscle. We're going to do that 2 more times. Then if you want to do the deeper calf muscle, you're just going to bend your knee, and that's going to get into the deeper layer calf muscle there. Take a breath. Go again. And we're going to do one more on this side, and this is going to be our very last stretch. It's quite a bit more time than the 10 or 15 minutes we took dynamically at the beginning to warm up. Warm-ups happen very fast. You're moving. It's very different. The static stretching must be slower. You want to do more repetitions for a longer period of time. So it's really, really important to help the muscle cool down and to help the muscle relax. So this is the way you're going to do stretching if you were ever to do any static stretching at the end of your day or at the end of other activities. If you have any questions about stretching, I'm more than happy to answer what I can. If there are other areas that you're curious about stretching, please shoot me a message and I'll see what I can do to help you out. All right, thanks so much, everyone. Stay safe out there this winter.